Fucking hell. You can hear me. Fucking hell. Oh.
Now, this photograph of the late Queen in 1968 has never been shown in public before. It is one of many that have just gone on display for the first time at the King's Gallery in Buckingham Palace. Cecil Beaton also took this, a different view of his famous portrait of Queen Elizabeth on her coronation day. This one shows four royal mothers, the late Queen, Princess Margaret, Princess Alexandra, and the Duchess of Kent in 1964. Princess Anne and Prince Charles were photographed on his 8th birthday. And this is a very relaxed shot from Catherine and William's wedding day in 2011. And also on display will be this striking picture of the Princess of Wales taken for her 40th birthday. Now, did you see what is coming next? This, I missed it, but many people across the UK were lucky enough to see the Northern Lights last Friday. The spectacular display, the best for decades. Two friends in Norwich were walking home when the sky lit up in purple, but as Karen Akhtar and Sally Laurent explain, all was not quite as it seemed.
Oh my God, so when we walked around the corner, we was actually looking up at the sky, and we thought, wow, it's the Northern Lights. When I saw it, I was ready to cry, and I was so happy. So we've actually gone to Iceland to see the lights, and we didn't see it the whole time we was there, so we thought, no way, we've finally seen it. It can't be, like, this has to be it. Got a bit closer, I was like, I don't know if it's meant to be looking like that. I was thinking, I'm not sure if the Northern Lights come in that colour, I'm not sure if it's meant to be that shape. What was the Northern Lights, yeah? So the moment we realised, yeah, we thought, nah, there's a prank, it has to be a prank. There's definitely a camera somewhere, because there's no way we believe that the Northern, like, this hotel has never made light like this before, so why is it doing it tonight? Tell me, we've been catfished. I was definitely disappointed. I was walking around, I was head down, facing the ground, I didn't want to speak to no one. I thought there's no way I'd miss it, and I've been catfished by Premier Inn.
Let's have a look at the latest weather now. Chris Brooks is here.
Well, so for the Aurora, I saw that for the first time 10th of May when it arrived. Once in a lifetime experience. Once in a nighttime experience, perhaps for those hotel lights. I'm sure they'll be back tonight. Today we've had plenty of sunshine across Scotland, and we had temperatures reach as high as 25 degrees Celsius. It's not been like that everywhere, though. We've had a whole raft of showers, thunderstorms, some heavy rain across Northern Ireland, England and Wales. For many of us, it has been quite a wet day. Confirmation of that here in Staffordshire, with some localised flooding on the moors. Now, overnight tonight, the rain that we still have at the moment will push its way westwards before clearing. Could be a few more patches of light rain or drizzle around parts of northern England and around some of our North Sea coast, where again it's likely to turn rather misty and foggy. Temperatures similar to recent nights, really. Tomorrow, overall, I think it's looking like a better kind of day. Certainly a lot of sunshine to start off with across England and Wales, with the exception of northern England, where it will probably stay quite cloudy. Scotland and Northern Ireland seeing some fine spells of sunshine, and although there will be a few showers popping up across the UK into the afternoon, not so many of those around, so you have a good chance of dodging the downpours, and for many of us it'll feel warm in the sunshine with temperatures pushing into the 20s. Now for Saturday, there's a chance of seeing a bit of rain coming into southeast England as we head through the day. Again, it could be quite cloudy there, but otherwise, further northwards, plenty of sunshine coming through during the morning. The afternoon, again, a scattering of showers, the majority of these probably across England and Wales. Scotland and Northern Ireland more likely to keep the dry weather. Wherever you are, though, still pleasantly warm temperatures, high teens, low to mid-20s in the warmest spots. On into the second part of the weekend, we start to see a bit more cloud coming in across the northwest of the UK. And with that, temperatures just easing back a little. England and Wales, plenty of sunshine around, and those temperatures, well, still above average for the time of year. 23 in Glasgow, that's warm. 19s, 20s for England and Wales. So overall, not bad weather really coming up over the next few days. A few showers to dodge, but many of us will have some pleasant, warm spells of sunshine. Sophie.
Chris, thank you. And that's it from the BBC News at 6. I'll be back with all the latest at 10. But right now it's time for the news teams where you are. Goodbye. Welcome to the programme. I'm Natalie Gray. First tonight, an NHS trust has admitted multiple mistakes in the care of a 6-year-old girl who died with suspected sepsis. Maya Sayek had to collapse twice in the days before her death, but she was sent home from the Accident and Emergency Department in Margate with a diagnosis of tonsillitis and was given antibiotics. She was then readmitted to the QEQM hospital when her condition deteriorated. At an inquest today, the coroner said there was still no full understanding of what led to her death. Sarah Smith has our report.
Maya's parents still don't know what killed their little girl. What they do know is there was a list of failures in her care. The 6-year-old was taken to hospital by her mum after falling ill and collapsing at home in Margate. She was sent home from the QEQM with antibiotics for tonsillitis, when, said the coroner, she should have been admitted and treatment started for the most likely diagnosis, sepsis.
Our life has been ruined and our family will never be the same without us. I do not want this to happen to other families, and I only hope Maya death wakes doctor up to the signs of sepsis that they must be alert to. Unfortunately, it's too late for our daughter.
The day after Maya was sent home, her mother took her back to hospital when her condition deteriorated. She was put on what's called the sepsis pathway, but despite having extremely high heart rate overnight, the consultant on call wasn't alerted. The next day,
What do you think it would be then
today the
if
coroner
I've
said failures
muted
are
the
included
sound on the
when
computer
she
here?
died, not communicating the sepsis diagnosis to
There's no microphone in it because I haven't plugged one in.
not recognizing the significance of
How is the sound getting through my laptop?
could have got her to intensive care,
I
not
don't
being
know.
contacted.
Jeff, I've never done it.
The
I've
coroner
really,
said she had no
I've been on
evidence that
helpline.
it
I've
was
no
done
idea how this
or
done.
Lion Trust would
I've
have
never
reported
ever done it.
Maya's death.
The coroner said it was impossible to know what caused the heart damage which took Maya's life, even after the post-mortem. But the inquest heard if it had been sepsis, treatment could have been started up to 18 hours earlier.
Health professionals, most of them have had training around sepsis. They will know that it's a significant problem, but it's around making sure that they're working in an organisation that empowers them to act quickly and encourages them to think sepsis whenever they're faced with someone who looks seriously ill with infection.
Maya's family said not knowing what had happened to their daughter was the hardest part.
We just isolated ourselves, locked ourselves in the house. We just kept questioning each other. What's going on? And that was the most distressing 3 months.
In a statement, the trust said they were truly sorry for the devastating loss of Maya and apologised unreservedly for mistakes made, saying they knew they had failed her and her family, and that after a thorough investigation, changes to children's services had been made. But what her parents still don't have is answers as to what it was that took her life.
Sarah joins us now from where the inquest was held in Maidstone, and Sarah, the family have had more to say about today's ruling.
Ah,
Yes, they say they're going to take a criminal negligence claim out against the trust. They weren't at all surprised to hear that list of failures that were outlined today in the coroner's court, and the coroner himself was very clear that the first failure was not admitting Maya on that first night when she was brought in. They don't know what caused her to die now, but if it had have been sepsis, and that should have been what was assumed, then as we know about sepsis, every moment counts. But what she did say is, in hindsight, there's no evidence to show what, if any, treatment could have altered that sad outcome. She said it was a series of errors made
Oh.
by individuals, not by the system. And
She's
she
got
also
a
said
really
they can
fat
imagine the distress and pain
caterpillar,
felt by her
and she's
family
trying to shove it in their
by her loss, and her
faces,
death affected
and none of them can
come into
cope with
contact
it.
her.
Sarah in Maidstone.
Oh, no, one's got it.
Now this programme's learned
No.
is planning an emergency intervention
Oh!
to clear thousands of tons of illegal
You
waste
got it,
from
and did a poop at the same time.
Tonight, the Environment Secretary has described the situation at Holmes
You
Wood
bloody gannet.
dreadful and is promising swift action. Our environment correspondent Yvette Austin has this exclusive report. Residents gathering in Betherston to hear the latest update on the Holmes Wood illegal waste site. They want the government to step in and clear the 30,000 tonnes of rotting rubbish as soon as possible. There is positive news. A letter from the Environment Secretary Steve Barclay
up if you like.
Well, if they don't, I'll be onto them as well. So I will keep fighting until we make sure we have the whole system in place to get Hogewood cleared up as fast as possible and as fully as possible.
In the letter, the Secretary of State acknowledges that it is a dreadful situation that demands swift action to resolve. He goes on to explain the legal course of action that are available to the Environment Agency, and he asks it for a detailed and costed plan to clear waste from the site, including timelines for clearance. And he concludes with a commitment to ensure the waste is cleared, and says he'll be working with the Environment Agency to ensure action is taken soon.
I have to have a positive response to this letter because we're always holding our politicians' feet to the fire and asking them to do things, and it appears that Steve Barclay is promising to do something. The situation rapidly needs addressing. We've got this enormous tonnage of waste which has been illegally dumped here, and it does seem that he's investigating with the Environment Agency methods to remove this, and it does seem that he's seeking to expedite that as rapidly as possible. Now, there may well be some hurdles and handicaps to overcome when it comes to physically removing that rubbish. We don't know what's in it. There could be hazardous waste in it. But at this point in time, we have to say hats off to the Secretary of State for taking this seriously and pledging to investigate it and get on with the job.
The clean-up is estimated to cost £10 million. Every time I come here, the scene is no less shocking. But what I'm seeing this time is that the trees that have got their feet in the waste are showing signs of stress or even death. Some, of course, might be ash and suffering from ash dieback, but I don't think that's the case with all of them. Elsewhere in the wood, it's green and lush. Local people, still fearful of reprisals, are optimistic, but say they must keep up the fight.
We are speaking to legal advisors, and I think the first step is to ask the government to commit to a firm timeline and the funding. And if we don't get the right response on that, obviously we put that letter in front of the lawyers and take legal advice and potentially legal action to force the right thing to happen here.
Meanwhile, investigations continue into who put the waste there in the first place and who's profited from landfill tax avoidance. Yvette Austin, BBC South East Today, Beckeston.
A union representing prison officers is calling for a full investigation into what they call a deliberate poisoning of staff with the drug Spice at HMP Swaleside. Criminal Justice Workers Union has said that 25 people were affected in the incident last Thursday at the men's high security prison on the Isle of Sheppey. The jury in the inquest into the death of 9-month-old Oliver Steeper, who died after choking in a nursery in 2021, have heard a recording of a 999 call. Staff at Jelly Beans Nursery in Ashford told the emergency call handler that a baby was choking on some food. A paramedic who arrived minutes later took over CPR from staff, but said Oliver was already suffering from a lack of oxygen. The Home Office has announced this evening that it's expanding the Rwanda deportation scheme to include failed asylum seekers. Under the original plan, only people who'd arrived in the UK on or after the 1st of January 2022 could be deemed eligible. The Rwanda scheme was initially proposed to deal with the influx of migrants arriving in small boats, mainly on the Kent coast. Now, a Dartford